like a knife, but it feels so right. Yeah, cuts like a knife. Oh, but it feels so right.
Good evening. Now we're going to talk about the knives. Tonight, what I'm going to talk about knives, I'm not going to worry about my large and extra large and crazy and X-Acto knives. What I'm going to focus on mainly tonight is pocket knives and which pocket knife would be best for a young man to use, or in my opinion, for a young man to use with the Whittling Chip. Now, the first knife I'm going to show y'all is a keychain Swiss Army knife. If you notice, it has the toothpick, it has the tweezers, both very handy. It has a blade, which is not really a blade, it's actually a screwdriver and fingernail file. It also has a little pair of scissors in it. They're very handy, they cut all sorts of stuff. However, the main cutting blade, this blade here, is very small. One of the things about Swiss Army knives is the steel that they're made of is very hard, and it's very hard to sharpen. So also, if you notice, it's such a tiny blade. Now, yes, it will cut. I mean, as you can see, it will make nice, beautiful cuts. However, as we're cutting along and it dulls, it's harder to sharpen. So, I would not recommend this knife for a young man to use to earn his Whittling Chip. The second knife I have is a keychain knife. It was a freebie. It's very fun. I open it up and immediately, see a problem. If you'll notice right here, there are serrations on this blade. Serrated blades are not good for carving or whittling. Why? They catch in the wood, they act like a saw. They're good for cutting through cord or cutting through a little branch or cutting through a box or something. However, they're not good for cutting through wood to make a nice smooth cut. Also, this blade is a cheap stainless steel, which is why it was free, and it would be difficult to stay sharp. But I would not recommend this blade for a young man to use to earn his Whittling Chip. My next size up knife is an old-timer knife. If I hold it up there, you can probably see old-timer. Alright, well anyway, this knife is a great knife. It has 3 different blades. It has a nice flat blade. It has a long blade and has a blade which it curves up on the end and is sharp on the curve. All 3 of these blades can be used while carving. All 3 of these blades, and I'll show different hand positions on another video, but all 3 of these blades would be good for carving, especially this flat blade right here. This knife is made of carbon steel. If you notice, it's not shiny and pretty, but carbon steel is great to sharpen. If you notice, I'm getting a nice good cut on this wood here, nice and smooth, and as it gets dull, I can easily sharpen this blade without any issues. The old-timer, a 3-bladed old-timer, is great. Another thing I like about this knife, and this will be the knife that Thomas uses, is that it is smaller. It will fit into his hand better. Now, I'm showing you my big ham hock here. So, what we want to do, that would be a good blade. The next blade that I have is the Barlow pocket knife. The Barlow, or a Barlow style, comes with 2 blades, a longer and a shorter. This is the knife I use for whittling and carving. I use the short blade most often. Again, it's carbon steel. It makes a nice cut. I can easily sharpen this blade while out in the field. The next knife we have is a larger old-timer. Again, 3 blades, and again, this one has a slightly different blade. It's actually like a gouge, which would be interesting for fine work, but it's you know, not what we're going to use for just whittling chip. So that leads me to the last of my knives, my big switchblade knife. This, as in any single blade knife, is going to be a little difficult for cutting. It has a larger blade, and this larger blade, though I can cut with it and it is sharp enough, it is kind of a bear to sharpen. However, I can sharpen this one. One of the things I like about the old timer as opposed to a single blade is you have more blades to do different types of cutting, or as you're cutting an object, if you're getting more detailed, you can use a smaller blade without having to worry about choking up.